Okay. Can I preface this? May I please just kind of go into this a little bit? Okay.
I remember the storage unit as such a sidebar back in the day. So yes, please preface.
Okay. Over the last couple of years in covering this story, all right, and I have stayed on this story. Most people have, kind of let this story be. I, as a curious journalist, cannot let it be. So, actually, let it be. Shout out to Gabby and her memory. But there was a question that lingered in my mind, and it was the Fort Doto camping trip. You remember the camping trip?
Right.
I think it was first weekend in September.
Right.
Brian, upon getting home, Gabby's gone. We now know that he murdered her. Goes camping with his family at Fort Doto. His mom, his dad, his sister, others. And I thought, man, that's really strange. If I had just murdered my fiance, not that I could really even put myself in that frame of mind. I can't. So it's kind of a moot point. But doing something as jovial as camping and something as wholesome as roasting s'mores over a campfire with your family, that just seemed to me like this very odd thing. And my opinion on this is now, after reading these depositions, it just, you know what the answer to that seems to be, if you believe the depositions, is that the Fort Doto camping trip was just them trying to go on, just trying to let everything be perceived as this is normal life. Everything's normal. Nothing to see here. This is normal life. That's basically how this reads in the depositions. My curiosity has shifted now, and it goes to the storage unit. Let me explain without referencing lines in the documents, because that will take forever. I'm just going to kind of break down what we know about the storage unit mystery. In the days before Gabby and Brian leave Florida, Walt, in the days before, they actually go up to New York first for Gabby's family, and then they begin the cross-country trip. In the days beforehand, Brian Laundrie doesn't tell his parents that he does this. He just decides to do it. He moves, according to the depositions. This is all according to the depositions. Let me just say that. Brian Laundrie decides to move his and Gabby's belongings into a storage unit. Chris Laundrie in the deposition says that he found out about it because he found a receipt for the storage unit. He said, "Oh, this is interesting. Storage unit. Okay, so you're in essence, you're moving out. You're moving out. You're moving your belongings out of the house and into a storage unit." And okay, that's that. And then they leave on the trip. In August, mid-August, Brian flies. This is after Moab. Brian flies home. Think about this. Brian and Gabby are on a cross-country trip from New York to, as we now understand it, maybe to a pumpkin farm in Oregon. It's a whole other thing. But they leave, and Brian decides midway through this trip to leave the trip, to leave his fiance in a hotel, and to fly home to see his parents and to move everything out of the storage unit, as it was described, to save money. So it just seems, it doesn't seem like normal behavior given, he had just decided days before they left on the trip to move everything, all his belongings, into a storage unit. Then he, as we understand it, we don't have the receipts, but it's believed that Brian Laundrie bought a plane ticket to leave from, I believe, Salt Lake City, fly home to Florida, spend several days at home in Florida, and then move everything that he had just moved a few weeks prior, move everything from the storage unit back into his parents' home, and then go back out and reunite with his wife-to-be, Gabby Buteau, and to resume their cross-country trip. And it just strikes me as weird, odd, peculiar behavior. Why would you move? It
seems like a breakup, doesn't it?
Have you ever moved anything into a storage unit? I've done it. It's
a waste of time and money.
Pain.
It's like a last-ditch effort where you don't have room for it somewhere.
It's a pain. You got to load everything into your vehicle, You're
Oh my
schlepping it over to a
God,
storage
it's horrible.
unit.
Moving's
You're
terrible as
navigating-
it
You're
is,
getting
yeah.
the cart from the storage unit facility. You're wheeling it to your storage spot. You're opening it up. You're dealing with the front office people. You're signing paperwork. You're doing. It's just
It's a full
just
day.
a hassle.
It's a full day.
Yeah, it is. It is almost depending on how much stuff you have. It is almost a day. So days before the trip, I mean, we're talking late June 2021. He moves everything into a storage unit, and then midway through the trip has this eureka moment where he says, "You know what? I need to save some money. Let me buy a plane ticket, fly home, and move everything back into my parents' house." He could have just waited until they got home from the trip. Now look, that brings in the whole pumpkin farm thing. Apparently, going through the depositions, there was this idea that Brian and Gabby had to go to Oregon to learn to be pumpkin farmers. Well, how long that would have taken and how long they would have been in Oregon being pumpkin farmers, we don't know. But we are asking something here because I asked this to Pat Riley. I called up Pat one day. Called him up. Pat, I can't wrap my brain around this. Why is, and I believe I have a recording of this phone call because I record Pat's conversations in the event that I need to reference them in my quotes and my notes. And he goes, JB, I don't know. His words were, it's a mystery. So that's why storage unit mystery is there, because even the Buteau and Schmidt side can't figure out why Brian would fly home mid-trip, see his parents, move everything back into his home after he just moved it into the storage unit. It just doesn't, 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4 in this case. So I'm asking our audience.
Do we know, sorry to interrupt, do we know that is it his and Gabby's stuff that he's moving?
I believe it is he and Gabby's stuff. Moving the stuff that they had together as, you know, as being a engaged couple. And I'll triple check my notes afterwards, but I believe it's referenced in there as it was their stuff. So, like, why are you moving it back in? And that's, okay. So we ask our audience, is there something more to the storage unit mystery? Or no, it's inconsequential. It was just Brian just deciding that he needed to get everything out of there. And here are your results. 94% say, nah, something's not right. Or yes, something's not right. No, it's inconsequential, got 6% of the vote. Just real quick before we move on, what do you make of that?
It's definitely, it's odd. The saving money thing, I guess, makes sense, except the flight part. And why are you leaving mid-trip? To me, hypothetically, to me, you're leaving mid-trip sounds maybe that there was trouble in the van at that point, maybe that they weren't getting along. But then the conflict there would be, then why are you moving all your stuff back into your parents' stuff?
Keep in mind, context-wise, right? Brian's flight home to move everything back into his parents' house is sandwiched between Moab and Gabby's murder.
Right. That's right.
All happened in the same month. All in the same month. In order.
Why are you moving?
Moab.
Wouldn't you throw her stuff on the lawn if you're going to break up and move just your stuff in? You're right. If he just flies back, there's trouble in paradise, and we know now there was trouble in paradise because the Moab incident, right? But then what? You're moving back, but you're staying together because you moved her stuff into the storage unit. Or are we fascinated by this because is there something in the storage unit that he could have gotten rid of? Is there something that he got rid of when he came back? I don't know. It is a mystery.
June, he decides to get the storage unit and move everything out of his parents' house, and then
because they're planning to live together, they're moving to, they're gonna go grow pumpkins. So they want their stuff consolidated, but don't you keep it in your parents' house and then move it after? I mean, I don't know. There's definitely some questions to ask about that.
94% of our audience think that something's not right there.
It is an odd thing.